Welcome to Unwritten Stories of Significance. My guest tonight is Shauntea Lewis. She's a university graduate, and she's here to share her story of perseverance, her story of courage. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Shauntea Lewis. Hi, Shauntea. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, my love. Good. It's a pleasure having you on. And it was an absolute pleasure having a pre-interview and talking about your incredible life. And we met through LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. So before we delve into your story, all right, my love, I'd like you to introduce yourself to our viewers and we'll take it from there.
Well, my name is Shauntea Lewis. I'm 25 with back pain. I'm just joking.
Okay.
And I went to University of Toronto, and now I'm with the Correctional Service of Canada.
All right, my love. So, correction, and I apologize, I said your name incorrectly. So it's Shauntea.
Yes, but it's okay, Joe. It's fine. Everyone has their own rendition. Like sometimes my mom calls me Shauntea. It's all over the place.
All right, and that's a beautiful name. What does it mean? Like, is there a meaning to it?
No, my mom had me at 17, and a friend of hers, she had no idea what to name me, and a friend was like, "Name her Shauntea," and my mom's like, "Yep, okay, that's it."
Love
So
it.
there's no meaning. At least
I
that's
love it. I love it, honey. Now, we met through LinkedIn, so we followed each other. So just to remind me, how did we get this conversation going? Did I reach out to you, or is something that you followed on LinkedIn that you love what I was doing?
I think it was something that there's a gentleman on there who I was able to like had the pleasure of getting to meet. I forgot his name.
Is that
But
Bernard, Brendan Bernard?
no, and I feel so bad if I don't say
That's
his name.
okay. That's okay. That's all right.
And I think there was some affiliation there, and I think he posted something with the 1834 youth debates.
Right.
Um and then I think from there, when you're like, I think you've seen his post, and then from there that's how we got introduced to each other.
Okay. All right, honey. Well, we had a great pre-interview, as I said, and I'll say it again. It was phenomenal. It had chock full information about perseverance and courage. And I love these shows because it talks about different topics and different things that can relate to many, many young people. So I'd like for you to share why you chose that. And I'm going to be honest, because you chose that title. So why did you choose that, Hannah? We can take it from there.
The 1834.
No, on the title of the perseverance and courage.
Okay.
Yes, because remember when I called you yesterday and we were talking and I was putting together the show and I said to myself, no, let me give her a call and ask her and share it from there, hon.
I think the reason why I say courage is because, at least for me, it's when I was young, I was very entrepreneurial, and even my mom can attest to this. Like, I used to like reach out to like investors of like all these like business ideas, and I forgot of it until my mom brought it up the other day, and she's like, "Oh my God, I see the email that you sent him." And it's like from there, it's like I had that courage to like, at the time, you don't know running a business is a lot of work until obviously you get older, but at a young age, you're thinking that you can like take on the world and do so much things. So as I got older, I didn't want to lose that courage and lose that willingness to do something that, in for me, I think is a big step, and it's bold in my life, and something that I'm passionate about, or something that I love. So now it's that now every time when I think of something and I want to do something, I always find myself reminding myself of that time when I was young, with that business idea. So the business idea that I had was for like an online entertainment competition, like a singing competition. And
Wow.
yeah, and I know, and it's like I pitched it to this angel investor in New York, and I pitched it to a lot, but one of them reached out to me and he said that he was willing to invest. But at the time, we didn't really know if he was like sketchy or anything. But again, it was the willingness, because I was like, maybe like, I don't know. I'm not gonna like say two. I'm gonna say no, 14's too old. I'll say 9, 10, maybe 10, 12 at the
What?
time. So it's like, and that's what, and at the time too, I was living in Toronto. So at the time, my mom was still going through school because she was in teachers college. So I guess a lot of my mom's ambition, and then also my dad having to work like two jobs because my mom wasn't working full time to like, so I think I took a lot of each characteristics of their personality. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why at such a young age I was so driven to do something like that. So.
Wow. Well, don't apologize. Do not apologize on that ever, because that's the goal of our show. And the mission of our show is stories of significance, to amplify your voices and those unique and crazy ideas that we do. And you started at such a young age, such a young age. To give a little history on Shauntea Lewis, you graduated from what university?
University of Toronto.
Okay, and what did you study?
English and so double major in English and political science.
Okay, so now you're finished.
I'm done, thank God. Yeah.
I love the way you say that. I'm done. Oh my gosh. Why? Okay, why do you say that? Okay, we're talking about courage and perseverance, so you might as well talk about why you say it's done. Why?
Oh my gosh. I would say, like, honestly, when people say that the workload in at U of T is a lot, it's a lot. Like, it's all this information and you have to process it and then write all these and it's the expectations that the school also places on you as well. Their standards are like, so it's, yeah, a lot of kids, they get depressed, and I fell in that trap because I initially went into school with a major that at the time I thought I loved, but it didn't fall in line with my skill set. So then I changed my double major, and I had to then realign my skill set to something that I wanted to do. So initially I wanted to go in there and do business management, but at the time accounting, it was not my skill, like math and things like that. So, and then I decided, so my mom had a conversation with me. She's like, Shauntea, like, I know you're not lazy. I just know this isn't your strong set. And we have to accept it. So, and at the time in high school, it's funny because in high school, I did really well. And hence why I got into the program. But those two courses that were prerequisites in order to get into year two was what killed me, and I didn't do well. So I then decided to do something more along my skill set.
And what was that?
So English, political science, because at the time I was trying to figure out what I liked. So I did take a class in political science while I was in the management program, and I did
Right.
like it. So then I decided to do a second course, and then which was I think it was Canadian politics I took a course on. And
Okay.
then when I liked it, I was like, okay, I don't mind majoring in this. And then I also then decided to do English because I also enjoyed it as well. And then that's what also kind of inspired me to start the magazine.
Okay. And we're going to hold off on that. Okay. We're going to hold off and we're going to introduce that as we go into the next segment. But that took, because throughout your pre-interview, and the reason why I keep bringing up the pre-interview is because when I spoke with you and you wanted to share, your heart was saying, I want to amplify perseverance, courage. Like I wanted to, and why is that? Like, why is it that you want to stay? Because I'm going to go back a little bit, because you were young, you all of a sudden pitched an idea in New York, then you went to school, you did all your changes around with your program, you graduated, but why is it so important for you to share that with youth? And then we can get into your magazine.
I think we live and I think things are changing now because you see like Greta Thunberg, the young climate change activist who's like
Yes.
really involved. So things are changing where more young people are getting more involved. I think sometimes, especially as young people, you don't feel like you're good enough in order
Right.
to like to even speak up because you feel like your voice is not going to be like heard or respected. So I think that's what I wanted to say to at least what I wanted to share is that to encourage people, especially young people, is not to be scared and to speak their opinions and what matters to them because even though an adult may dismiss it, they're listening, you
That's
know?
right.
So
That's right. I think you're sweet. You are so, so sweet because you went through that, Shauntea, and now you're amplifying the message of what you went through and why is it important to use your voice. Okay. And you're doing it. You're doing it by sharing it on the show, right? Okay. So you graduated from university and your degree was
he was an honors Bachelor of Arts in political science and English.
okay. All right. That is awesome, honey. Now, when you look back, because I want to amplify courage and perseverance, when you look back through all that stuff you went through in school, changing everything, how does Shauntea feel?
I would say that I'm happy with the decision that I made, honestly.
Nice.
I feel like if I didn't make that shift, like that change in programs, I think I would be a different person. And I think the opportunities that I have now would have never taken place, obviously, because and I think I wouldn't be happy as well. Because I think another thing too is that yes, people have gifts and yes, people work hard to attain those gifts, but I think it's also important to know like what you're good at and then to maximize that, you know?
Do you believe you're doing that now?
To an extent, yes. However, I'm because I'm still young, so it's like I still have different passions. At least I'm learning different passions. I find myself a lot this summer, volunteering. For
Good.
example, with like Mitzi Hunter, like I was part of her campaign. So it's like I'm trying and I'm still,
Wow.
so it's like those are things that I'm trying to do to like to see if these are things that I'm interested in and to learn as well. And to also push things that I think that are important within within and I'm not going to even say to even specify it to a Black community, but for everyone, because I feel like now we're in a society where I think everyone understands that the only thing that differentiates us is skin tone and hair texture, and it's very very small too because humans we're all the same, so and that was the reason why I liked her platform and the reason why I said okay fine, maybe this is another way to really push for change in a positive way.
You are a sweetheart. Oh my God. When you look back at this interview, you're going to kiss that mirror, honey. Shauntea. And on that note, we'll be right back with Shauntea Lewis. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Unwritten Stories of Significance. Boy, did we have a conversation in the break. Shauntea, my God, you were just talking from the heart. Like, okay, so we left phenomenal first segment, by the way, sweetheart. Phenomenal. If there's anything that covered about perseverance and courage, that you did. Changing all your stuff in university and everything else, phenomenal. So you graduated, and I want to talk about that magazine. Um, what was the name of the magazine?
Reviling Magazine. Revealing.
Okay, who chose the title?
I did. It was
Okay,
all
why? Why that title?
because I wanted to do something that spoke about things that weren't covered in mainstream media,
Okay.
and to shed light on community, like people in the community who don't get the spotlight that they need, you know. So,
Oh, all right.
especially specifically within the Black community, because I felt like yeah, yeah.
All right. No, no, you keep talking from the heart, honey. You're doing amazing, like amazing. Be yourself, honey. You're doing it right now. The African descent, you said. So why is it important to Shauntea Lewis to showcase and provide information for readers to understand? Why?
I think it's important that because there's so much things going through my head, so I want to make sure that I say what I really want to say.
Yeah, say it. You say it.
So I think for me at the time, I felt like I grew up in a household, let's start there. I grew up in a household where my parents spoke a lot about the oppression that um Black people face. So myself, not myself, but my ancestors faced. We came from Jamaica, but there was still slavery there, and the few that weren't enslaved were maroons. So we still felt the brunt of the slave trade. And a lot of times I'm aware of the racism, the discrimination that people of color face within this, at least this hemisphere of the
Right,
world.
right,
And I wanted to create something that shed light on people who were trying to fight against these things and who are also trying to impact our community in a positive way, you know? And that's what I wanted to, and that's why I so there's one guy, Louis March. So he's a gun violence advocate in Toronto, and he focuses a lot on how they can reduce gun violence, um, because he has through his nonprofit, and he also assists young people from staying away. So after school programs, etc. And then with Mitzi, and this is how I actually met Mitzi. So in university, I reached out to her and asked her if I can interview her because at the time she proposed a bill that addressed gun violence as a mental health issue. So instead of having the approach of locking up, not locking up, sorry, well, obviously they're going to go to jail, but for at least for the victims, for the victims and people who live in gun-ridden communities, they have access to therapies, and they also have access where they can be able to rebuild the family structure within the Black community to reduce the presence of gun violence, because a lot of the times these young men don't have a father figure, and I
right.
think that's why it's gun violence is so prevalent, and that was something that Mitzi was trying to address within her bill. So from there I interviewed her to speak about that, and to also speak about her time as MPP. So she was MPP for the Scarborough Guildwood area. So I was
Right.
able to be there and also get her experience as a Black woman as an MPP. Like that in of itself is resilience, because I'm sure she went through adversity in order to get to where she's going. But the
Yeah.
main thing I wanted to shed light in the magazine was to to erase certain stigmas that are placed within our community, and to show that regardless of the stereotypes that are placed, and they're not as prevalent as they are in the States, but it's still we still feel the brunt of that, because a lot of
What
times
sti-
people think of,
what
sorry,
stigmas? I want you to talk. Well, what stigmas?
stigmas, we're criminals, we're uneducated, we're idiots. Yeah, and even to this day, I people address me, and well, people look at me and they assume these stereotypes of me, and I've experienced it. I would love to give an example, but I don't want anyone to, like,
I
to
understand. I understand.
so I think these are the things. And another thing is that it's also history as well. And it's like I think that's very important too, is that a lot of people are not bad, and a lot of people are very ignorant to history, and ignorant to, especially to us as Black people, and why they assume certain stereotypes are true. But if you understand history and why systemic racism and discrimination is what it is, then you wouldn't certain ignorance is not going to be, they're not going to think of a Black person as a criminal or this or that. So I think not I think, but that was another thing that I was trying to address in the magazine. And luckily I had my mom, so she was really a guide. So because she knows a lot of these things, like she spends day in and day out trying to learn about African history.
Yeah.
So I was able to have her to like pick her mind and see how I can stir the magazine in the right direction.
So you started it when?
2016. Yeah.
2016. Today is 23.
Yeah.
Wow. What's your mission with it, hon? I know you've already said it, but what is your end game, I should say?
Well, my end game is expand it. Instead of it focusing on Black issues, I wanted to speak on the human race in general. I feel
Oh,
like as I'm
oh,
getting
stop,
older,
stop there, stop there, stop there. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to take a second. Human race?
yeah.
Oh
Well,
my, no, that is beautiful, sweetheart. That's why I had to stop you there. Okay, amplify that. I'm said that word, but I don't give a rip. Amplify why you say human race. Why?
is I feel like we have allowed, because humans are very tribal, and we
Yes,
stick to those who look like us, who have the same interest as us. And I
yes,
feel like we allow these certain things to tear us apart. My dad, this is something that I've always taken with me. My dad told me that if humans spent less time fighting each other and discriminating each other, we would have been multi-planetary already. Like diseases wouldn't exist. Like we spend our energy in the wrong places rather
yes,
than realizing that we're one and we can just do this together.
yes.
So, and I thought that's how I look at life now. I just look at life like that. Like I'm like, okay, you're white, you're Aboriginal, whatever, doesn't matter. We're human. I'm gonna treat you with kindness and I expect you to treat me with kindness, so.
Wow, I'm sorry I had to jump on that. I had to jump on that because I've had to jump on that because what you said there, human race, we might be all different colors. We can't help that. I didn't ask to be Black, but I am. But I'm not going to live my life being that. I'm going to live my name, Joy Foster, as my parents named me. So, you, my love, with this amazing magazine, who else have you interviewed?
Um, so Selena, so you can tell that I love politics. So
Yes,
Selena,
I love it. I heard on the when we did the commercial break.
well, Selena Chavanez, it's funny because when I went to her home, so she agreed to have us at her home. And when she opened the door, I didn't think, because at the time I also had a friend, like a young Black man with me who was
Yes.
recording. So it's all young people there. And then and she was like, she was shocked. She was like, I did not expect to see this. So she
Wow.
was nice. That was a great experience. So.
Wow, honey. Oh my, how proud are you of yourself, hon? Okay, how proud of you. Perseverance, courage. Look at you. Look at the way you're talking. Oh my gosh. How proud are you, Shauntea?
Um, like for me, like I know I'm a work in progress. Like I never want to inflate myself, like make myself like, because I feel like there's a lot of things that I need to work on with myself. But for
That's
the
right.
most part, I'm happy that I took those steps that I wanted to take, but also taking those steps, there's a lot of things that I could have done to improve. So I
Yeah.
always look at everything as like, yeah, a work
Okay.
in progress. Yeah.
We only got 3 minutes. I'm trying to grab every single piece of valuable information you're saying. Are you concerned of your future?
Oh my gosh, yeah, every day. That's always
Why?
stressful.
Why?
I don't know. Like I have this fear where it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna get emotional, but it's like,
Okay, I'll cry with you. You feel better then.
it's like, I don't know, because you see, you have good intentions, like your intentions are not bad, but sometimes you feel like you're never gonna reach them.
Right.
And I think that's my fear. It's like, okay, like I try, but it's like, am I gonna do the things that I want to do, right? So especially
But
when
go ahead, go ahead.
especially when especially when it's if it's it, my intent is always good. I'm not a bad person. I always and even when I do something or say something, I always tell myself I'm really hard on myself about those things. Like I don't know. For me, I had a lot of growth over the
Right.
time of the pandemic up till now. And after my first year of university, that's when my growth has started in terms of how I so I'm still growing and there's still a lot of things that I'm not like, obviously I'm human, but I'm trying every single day to love myself more and to know that I'm in control of my decisions and I have to make the right decisions. So, yeah.
Shatea, I don't want to go into another question because we're nearly close to our time, but I'm going to ask you this real fast because we've only got 5 or 10 seconds left. Will you come back?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome, because we got more to cover. And on that note, I want to thank you from my heart. I really do. This was absolutely incredible. One word, really fast. No, I can't. Okay, one word. I'm going to say to you, I love you, and I can't wait for you to come back, Shauntea. Thank you so much. Okay, honey?
I love you too, Joy. Honestly, this entire experience, I feel very special. And I know there's a God because earlier this year, I was severely depressed on how people treated me, and the way how you make me feel right now is in. So thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome, beautiful girl. Love you to pieces. You'll be back. Thank you, Shauntea.
Okay.
Bye.